Good evening, YouTube. What the crap's going on? HeirofCarthage here, back in Total War Warhammer 2. And holy crap, welcome to an amazing siege at the gates of Karaz, Karak. So there is going to be a huge, awesome siege battle on a custom map. Yes, a custom map, part of the Grand Campaign custom map mod. You can actually play multiplayer battles on them. So go join my Discord. That's where this one came from. And we have an awesome battle here for you. So we have 3 dwarf factions defending the gates, and I will tour you around the map momentarily. We've got Karak, the regular dwarf faction, and then Clan Ungrim, and each has their legendary lord Ungrim, Thorgrim, and Belegar, and also here is Throny Ironbrow, the the ethereal rune lord, which is going to be really cool. So the dwarf army setup, there's some miners with blasting charges, lots of guns, there's an engineer, some dwarf warriors on the walls guarding, and then up on the flanks there's these awesome firing positions for the dwarves to fire down at their attackers. There's 2 Gorlers with great weapons, a Iron Drake with Trollhammer torpedo, regular Iron Drake over here, 2 more guns, a cannon, another gun there, so the dwarves have all their flanks covered. And then in the back, they've got an organ gun and a goblobber. And if we look at the attackers, we've got the Empire, Bretonnia, and Alarielle leading Avalorn. And each is bearing, again, as you would expect, their legendary lord. So Karl Franz, actually not a legendary lord, just standard lord for Bretonnia. And then we've got Alarielle the Radiant back here. So she is going to be joining the battle as well. Check out this giant, is that like a giant piece of broken down Skaven siege equipment or something that broke the gates? Check this map out. How epic is this? Look at this. Look at this. So the gates have been broken apparently, and then the battle for the inner hall. Let's hit play. So there is a high elf siege tower, and boy, you tell me who has a little more flair here for design, the Bretonnian siege towers or high elf siege tower. Yeah, take your pick. These 4 steam tanks came forward as if they're going to take the walls, but I mean, they are coming under heavy thunder fire as the dwarves have set up a kill zone here. But speaking of kill zone, here comes Karl Franz with the intent to turn these dwarves into their own kill zone. So he's going to come up here and get engaged with all these Dawe. Actually, no, he's just going to fly on through. He's just passing through. He doesn't intend to stick around, but here comes the Bretonnian lord who can morph through walls. It is a custom map. That kind of stuff happens in the pathfinding a little bit. Yeah, hey, if our lord did it, we can do it too. So there is our dimensional shifting Royal Hippogriff Knights. Anyway, check this out. This is going to be one of the best parts here. Look at these Swordmasters of Hoeth and the Pure Main Company, as well as another Swordmaster and a White Lion approaching the walls, thinking that they can get up here and cut down dwarf infantry. Look at the blasting charges just unleash on the lore master, but it's not going to do much. Not going to do much to the lore master, and you can see the dwarf lord sitting behind here. Karl comes straight in after the goblobber, which is a good choice. That thing's going to cause tremendous damage. Watch this. All right, here comes the sword masters. Here comes the sword masters. Oh boy. Storming the walls. Boy, they are all, oh boy. Yep, that just happened. That just happened. Look what happened to their hit points. Look at that. They're so piled up. Just look at this. Have you ever seen anything like that? The Ekrund miners just completely obliterated a Swordmaster of Hoeth. That's a tip and a trick you got to remember right there. Did you see that? A miner right behind where they dropped the gates to their siege tower. It was brutal. 53 kills, completely eliminated that unit. So the dwarves come up with a clutch play on the flanks. This cannon's trying to regroup, and you can see that the Griffites and the Bretonnian lord having their way with the dwarf skirmishers on the walls. Up here, there are 2 Great Eagles that are really giving the dwarves some trouble, sweeping in and out of all their troops here, causing a lot of damage. Those steam tanks that initially rolled up have gone and parked in the back to try and heal up, and they should. They're under a little bit of fire from the towers, so they should probably try and reposition over here where the Bretonnian cavalry is at. And the Bretonnian cavalry is 3 questing knights and the companions of Kinel, so a ton of armor piercing. as well as a damsel lore of life there. So, yeah, the fight is underway, and it is a nasty knockdown, drag-out siege, the kind of slugfest that we can all enjoy. Check out the Pure Main Company here. Oh, you know what? I should have switched my controls a long time ago. Apologize. I'm going to go ahead and set it right here. I always forget to do this pre-battle. One of these days I'm going to remember. Anyway, I'll get it in there so it'll be smooth from here on out. So yeah, check out the Pure Main Company. Fighting their ways along the walls here. Really cool looking unit. They should do good damage, but I mean, they're surrounded. They're in a tough position. Look at the dwarves here with the commanding firing position. Commanding the high ground. Here's some more white lions trying to fight their way through over here. I see some peasant mob mixed in there too. This must be some particularly brave peasant mob. Actually, those are sword masters and white lions. So pretty decent infantry break right here. And then look, here comes the royal hippogriff knights. I always want to say griffin, but it messed up. So here comes the royal hippogriff knights, making their way into the back lines, probably looking for a charge on the goblobber. There are some slayers here. We'll have to be aware of that. There's also these thunderers back here too. And those thunderers just took notice of their latest quarry here. The hippogriff knights are going to dive in and again try and silence the goblobber. Meanwhile, the gates have been broken. Let's see what comes through them. Cavalry, all the cavalry was attempting to break through, but let's take a look. We got to zoom over the wall. It doesn't let us go through it. Yeah, you can see that the dwarves had an infantry unit out here positioned to stop the cavalry charge. And it actually worked out good because they ended up right in a kill box for the guns and took quite a bit of damage. Didn't get very good charges because they all blobbed on top of each other. This cavalry is going to all have to come through a choke point. There's Longbeards and 3 lords and a runesmith just waiting on them. So they should be able to use the Rune of Negation and a whole bunch of other stuff to really slow down what that cavalry can do. So the dwarves are putting up a very stalwart defense. Over here, the White Lions and Swordmasters that had broken through, looks like they have stalled on the walls. The Swordmaster came down and got chewed up. So yeah, the offensive on the wall has stalled except for the Pure Main Company, who's doing well but heavily outnumbered. And as we swing around back to the other side, you can see that the cavalry is attempting to break through the gates, but they are quite blobbed up within the gates, trying to make their way through. So yeah, they're having difficulty making their way through there, and these questing knights are standing in the kill zone right now for these thunderers who are doing a tremendous job up on the walls. The Great Eagles, and I don't know how, I guess he plowed through the gate, but this dwarf noble has gotten back here with the eagles and is causing damage to the skirmishers, trying to keep the dwarf skirmishers at bay. Yeah, here's another noble on a chariot. They're just using their mass to plow through the dwarf infantry, being chased by Belegar along the way. The cavalry is forced back as the dwarves hold the gates successfully. Those steam tanks still mustering in the background, awaiting their opportunity to come into the combat. Here's the Star of Avalorn off of Alarielle. She's kind of hiding behind the gates and using her abilities to heal the units within. You can see these nobles picked up a tremendous amount of hit points off of that Star of Avalorn. So they're going to be able to do some more damage, but again, they're surrounded. A lot of their forces heavily outnumbered right now. Great Eagle trying to finish these Trollhammer torpedoes. And the Bretonnian Lord, let's swing around this way. He's finished off a few more units on the walls. Wow, this camera is not liking the terrain. Don't know what in the world just happened right there. It's trying to follow the terrain and it's doing weird stuff. Anyway, yeah. And so is the Bretonnian Lord. He's going to go fly through the ceiling, much like my camera did there. Once again, transdimensional. He's magic. Let's head back over here. Can I go through the wall? Maybe. Yep, there we go. Trying to find my way around this map. Yeah, there's Alarielle just kind of cooped up right behind the gate. That's a smart place for her because she can't get hurt very easily. The questing knights are going to try and charge their way through the gate. And let's check out... Or no, actually, this is a Reichsguard, my bad. So the Reichsguard's going to try and come through. Here comes a withering barrage from 4 steam tanks They're parked right outside the door firing in. This is a great position. The only unfortunate thing is they're probably smashing their own Reichsguard as a result. But those steam tanks should be able to park right outside the door and fire in. The dwarf noble, or the elvish noble, finally chased off, as well as the eagle over here. There's one more noble. All of them are routing. So Throny Ironbrow and Belegar successful in pushing them back. And right now it's not looking great for the attackers. It's not looking particularly great. There's a lot of dwarf infantry left. This Pure Main company has just been owning on the walls. Absolutely owning. Never seen a White Lion unit do good, but this one's doing good. Just look at the pile of dead dwarf corpses there. The Pure Main company is no longer pure. They are absolutely covered in blood and beards, no doubt, as they're trying to chop their way through a huge number of dwarves on the wall. There are several units of warriors, so I don't think they can win that fight, but they'll be able to do some good damage. The Bretonnian Lord finishing off some Iron Drakes, and the organ guns are firing into this blob here to pretty solid effect. One steam tank came through. It's the one that was most damaged, and it looks like it's trying to create a blob for the other ones to shoot, and it's quickly downed by the organ gun and the combination of Ungrim and Thorgrim, but the other steam tanks outside the gate causing some damage. And slipping through was the mage here. I think this was maybe a click mistake for the Bretonnians. You don't really want your damsel in here. Ungrim is going to put an end to that damsel real fast. He is no dwarf gentleman. Look at that. He's got no problem splitting that lady in half, and he will do it very quickly, as she is a quote-unquote large target. No offense intended, but she's on a horse. So here comes the questing knights, a moment too late to save their damsel. And you can see that these dwarf units over here trying to bog down a lore master of Hoeth who had regrouped, and these dwarf lords are proving to be tough customers in defending their keep. Check this out, man. This map is beautiful. I love these custom maps. They're a lot of fun. Yeah, they got their quirks sometimes with the pathfinding and stuff, but they're a ton of fun. You guys need to try out this mod with your campaign. It's a lot of fun. You can actually get different maps in campaign, and you can play these on multiplayer battles with your friends, as long as they have the mod too. Check it out, Star of Avalorn on all these knights, but what I'm surprised at is that the organ gun is targeting the steam tanks. It really feels like it should be targeting all this cavalry that's in a blob. Look at him pushing through. How beautiful is that? Woo! There comes the Elven Noble trying to get back in here. So see the questing knights trying to use that Star of Avalorn and get that push on through. The Bretonnian Lord comes up here to try and bail out the Pure Main company, who is now 160 dwarves into the killing spree. These guys are incredible. This battle is absolutely gorgeous, and it's so much fun to watch. I know these players aren't perfect, but man, I like these kind of battles, just seeing the craziness, like all those satchel charges just destroying that Swordmaster. So all the cavalry routes, so it's not good. The cavalry blob was not able to penetrate the dwarf defenses, and the dwarves continue to hold on their home field advantage. There's a few peasants, the damsel regrouped out here, the noble regrouped, a few units regrouping, the Bretonnian Lord helping to cut his way through these warriors on the walls. So finally the fight on the walls may wrap up, but there's still some steam tanks out front who are on the outside looking in, and the dwarves really need to move to cover behind these walls. The only challenge is, even if they do, the steam tanks could come poking in real quick and still get off shots, but it'd still be better than nothing. You can see that the steam tanks, though, are still under fire from the organ gun. Let's see what we got up here. Pure Main company, are they coming down from the walls? It looks like they were, no, just for a moment they were following some of the dwarves. Dealing with Throny Ironbrow is going to be tough. The only unit here with magical attacks is Alarielle, and she is not going to be a good choice to take down a dwarf runesmith, ethereal or not. Looks like Alarielle's going to make a quick charge in. She better be careful. There's a lot of slayers there. So the dwarf defenders are becoming few in number, but proud in spirit nonetheless. Let's see the defense here. These dwarves continue defending the gates. Some peasant mob and regrouped knights. coming back through. It looks like Alarielle's stuck in the corner over there. She took a beating from someone. Is it the Slayer's catcher? Yeah, Alarielle took a serious beating there. So that's not good. Things looking bad for the attackers. I mean, they do have this pure main company, but let's see what happens here. The Bretonnian Lord's doing a spectacular job. He's done a lot of work in this battle. Old Iron Brow. This guy is going to be one big nuisance to deal with because he is very resistant to physical attacks. Here goes Belegar out to support him as well. The Royal Hippogriff Knights getting in their attacks. Steam tank still positioned well outside the door. Look at those Iron Drakes firing in. Some roasted Hippogriff Knights now. And the Bretonnian Lord is going to be forced to flee. There's still one Trollhammer torpedo back here. Yeah, a single Trollhammer torpedo. He just fired it right there and scored a hit. Oh, those Iron Drakes just took a hit from the Bretonnian Lord too, but their leadership is super tough because all these dwarf leaders are still around. And the Bretonnian Lord is wavering. Yeah, he's not going to last, so the Bretonnian Lord is out. And it looks like Ungrim and his dwarf warriors were chasing the steam tanks out here in a futile effort. Ungrim just takes cannon shot after cannon shot. So there's two steam tanks, both relatively healthy with a lot of ammunition. The dwarves still have some thunders. Let's see if their artillery is still alive and kicking. They had it earlier. I don't see it. Yeah, the Bretonnian Lord's taking more fire there. Again, there's a damsel in the back. What is going on over here? What is this unit? I saw a unit right outside the walls here. A Grail Relic? Is it stuck? It looks like the Grail Relic is like stuck against the wall behind there. Never noticed that before. Alarielle is beat up pretty badly, and for whatever reason, Ungrim keeps coming out to tangle with these tanks. He's lucky to be alive at this point with the tanks able to point blank fire at him. He does have huge armor, fortunately for himself, I think. Otherwise, those steam guns would have nuked him pretty bad. So you can see the dwarves kind of sallying out, chasing, and the stanks falling back and skirmishing, as they should. So the dwarves are going to be trying to hide behind their walls. Ungrim very close to death. Thorgrim not too far. And Belegar is very healthy. And then Throny Ironbrow also very healthy, almost untouched. I don't know how the attackers are going to pull it off at this point, but we'll see what kind of efforts they make. That tower is still firing for the dwarves, and it's firing at the damsel. Look at this, the single Trollhammer torpedo takes that position. Look at that! Puts a shot on Alarielle. Ooh, that steam gun. It can't quite get him, I don't think, because of the wall. That angle isn't quite working. Look at that, the single Trollhammer torpedo. Is he going to get more shots off? He took a shot right there. Can't tell who he hit. Here comes the steam tanks. They're just going to go for it. Or are they just going to park here to get closer shots? Yes, they are. Belegar takes a vicious volley there. There's a Rune of Oath and Steel. It's going to make the dwarves significantly tankier. They don't want to just sit there and get shot, so they're going to charge. And the steam tanks don't back up quite enough. One is going to back up, the other isn't. There it goes. Yeah, they definitely want to kite as much of this fight as they can. It almost seems like the steam tanks should have tried to come in earlier, plow through, and get back here to challenge this victory point. And then they would have had all this open ground to run around and kite the dwarves on, potentially. Because if the dwarves came on this side of the gate to avoid them, they could have captured the victory point. I don't know. It's interesting. We'll see how this ends. Steam tank's going to come back through the gates. Let's go look at it. Whip that camera around there. Yeah, so here comes the steam tanks rolling back on through. Yeah, see, this one, in my opinion, should just go straight through. Go straight through back here and force the dwarves back from the gates. Looks like they're just going to get mixed up in a melee fight here. And the stanks can potentially cause a lot of damage, but with Ungrim around, and that ethereal runesmith, I just don't know if the tanks can cause the damage they need to. They'll do good against everything except for that runesmith, but there's just so many dwarves, and there's still a lot of armor piercing. There's still runes of negation. There's an engineer taking pot shots here. There's a couple of thunderers. The other steam tank has chosen to sit back and fire. He was gonna go all in. Yeah, might should just go all in. Come on, plow through there. Go back. Get back there. Ungrim is dangerously low on health, but with all these other units around, it might be hard for the steam tank to actually land the hits. Alarielle's trying to sneak through the gates. What is she doing? Yeah, it looks like she's trying to just sneak through the gates back here. Ooh, Throny's got his eye on her. Oh, she's gonna retreat. She's the only one with magical attacks, but I don't know how she's ever gonna get close enough to him without dying. Both steam tanks have come through. The steam tanks are bashing up the dwarf infantry pretty thoroughly. But Belegar and Thorgrim close in tow, and remember Thorgrim is giving melee buffs to all the units around, and then Ungrim is right there too. He has an anti-large bonus. And so he's going to be doing tremendous damage to the steam tanks. They are going to want to stay moving, if not maybe even just focusing their attacks on Ungrim. Take him out of the fight first, and then you would want to focus out Thorgrim because he's a pretty easy target. See what they're doing. There we go. The Thane's not armor piercing. Let's see what happens here. Alarielle gets routed. It says that the balance bar is pretty even right now, but I don't see how the steam tanks pull this off unless they do. They're gonna have to kite and use all that ammunition. If they kite and use the ammunition, they could kill Thorgrim for sure, and probably Ungrim. I'm not sure why they're not kiting right now. Woo! Instead, they're just coming in full bore melee attack. And they're not targeting Ungrim either, though, who looks like an easy target. And then if they sat back and shot Thorgrim, I'm pretty sure they could kill Thorgrim too and take away that that buff to all these other units. Their leadership is still extremely high because of Thorgrim. About a minute left, and it's starting to favor the dwarves here, and I can see why. In this current state of melee, there's no way the steam tanks finish this. They would have had to just sat back and use their ammo, but what a tremendous fight. What a tremendous fight. Just look at the piles of bodies all over the Karak. What a cool map. What a cool battle. Awesome folks here from the Discord. Appreciate them all being a part of it. We'll get to see their names shortly. Ooh, Ungrim getting plowed around the battlefield. But his ragdolling there saved him. One steam tank goes down. We're down to the final steam tank here. Wonder if it can finish Ungrim. Man, this is all that's left. Ooh, Alarielle came back. And she's going to go for the Master Engineer for some reason. So she puts a charge on him. Alarielle's obviously out of magic at this point. Her animations look so dang cool. How cool is that? I think she's gonna rout. Yeah, she's out. She's had enough. Yeah, Alarielle's out. She's shattered. It is solely down to the last steam tank, who is pinned down by all three of the legendary dwarf lords, including the ethereal runesmith. And that steam tank is toast, folks. How about that? Pyrrhic victory indeed. Not many people going home to tell the tale of this battle. Wow. How'd you guys like the Battle of Karaz al Karak? That was awesome, was it not? Let me say thanks to everybody. Valkyrie Hunt, Bazooka Bob, Mr. Appius Rollis, Wicked, T42, and Regina. That was a spectacular battle. I should have known that the Avalorn player was Regina. Always picking them. That Pure Main Company, that was probably one of my favorite units of the battle. Well, and also the Swordmaster. Even though they didn't eat kills, they were one of my favorite units because, I mean, they got exploded by the Ekrund Miners. The Ekrund Miners just absolutely trashed that unit, this unit right here. So Valkyrie Hunt, very nice play there, and some good use of Ungrim throughout that in order to do a lot of damage. Let's check out Bazookas. Sorry, this is Valkyrie Hunt. It was Bazooka Bob who had those units. So let's see, Valkyrie Hunt. He's the one that had the guns that did all that damage at first, it looks like. Yeah. And then Bazooka, and then Appius also had some guns. He was playing as Belegar. Good kills on his Goblobber. Otherwise, just this throwing the Ironbrow in the end was going to be too much for the enemies to take down. Look at the kills on the Lore Master of Hoeth and this Noble. That is incredible by Regina. Some fantastic work. And then the same thing with this Pure Main Company. Got some work done. And then this Bretonnian Lord, he may have been the most vanilla Lord here, but wow. Yeah, he cleaned house too. The Questing Knights, not so much. Hippogriff Knights, 225 kills. Tremendous job on their part. And then Wicked here with the Steam Tank army. Pretty entertaining. I think it would have been pretty cool if Wicked would have had traded out this Reichsguard for a Jade Wizard and used Regrowth and Earthblood on these tanks to keep them alive even longer, potentially in the end. That would have been a really cool touch. But I hope you all enjoyed this. If you all did, go hit that thumbs up button. Make sure to leave a comment. Tell these folks how much you enjoyed their battle. I loved this one. This was super fun to watch, and I hope you all got a kick out of it. You requested some custom map mod on the last vote that I put up, so here you go. It's custom map mods. So you got to see some custom battles, something very different, a siege battle on a map that's not just your plain old cut and paste CA siege map. So hope you all enjoyed that one. If you want to see more, make sure to subscribe. Go click the subscribe button, click that bell, and you'll be the first to know whenever I have new content. I can't wait to see you there in that new content. HeirofCarthage, signing out, folks.